Do our loved ones experience joy on the other side? This was a question that came through that made me smile because I'm super happy to say yes. This is one of those questions that I joyously get to answer yes. And I'm grateful for the question, but then that got me thinking, let's talk about what it's like being on the other side. Let's talk about what it is to come down here. And then that got me thinking about, well, when you understand that and you apply it to a certain technique, that can open up your intuition even further. So I'm going to do my best today in this episode to mesh together three concepts, hopefully skillfully. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to do my best to mesh these three concepts together. What's the process of coming down here? Why do we come down here? All the while talking about, the essence of what it's like to be on the other side. And then lastly, how, when we know this concept, can we apply it to honing our intuition? Okay, I have set the bar. I've challenged myself. This is going to be fun. Let's do this. I don't know. Maybe I didn't set a bar or like overcomplicate myself here. There's a lot that I wanted to bring into this one session, and I think we can do it. I think we can do it. You and I, we got this. We got this. I want to talk about the difference between the other side versus here on Earth. And in doing that, I want to get to a point where we understand really the reason why we come down here. And it's kind of a cool reason, in my opinion. Then I want to talk about how, knowing this, we can apply it to understanding the state that we're in when we're here, which will then in turn help us to access more psychic and mediumship abilities. Okay, where do we start? I start by saying welcome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's nice to have you here. This channel is all about helping people hone their intuition, and it's approached in a number of ways. You're going to get a lot of tools. You're going to get a lot of insights. You're going to get a lot of challenges. And you're also going to get a lot of explanation on how things work, because I think that that's the key ingredients really to be able to hone your intuition. So if you're new, welcome. Do me a favor and do some sort of a clickety-click thing, subscribe, something, share. And we're trying to raise the vibration and help everyone access their intuition with a little bit more clarity, because when you do, the highs get a little higher, the lows get a little less low. It's a good thing. It's a good thing all around. And for those of you that have been with me for a while, welcome back, my friend. You ready for this one? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to jump right in because I want to make sure I cover it all. Here we go. I'm going to start with giving you an analogy on the other side and coming down here. So think first of a multi-dimensional spider web. It goes in every direction. At every intersection on that web is a higher self, that little cloud, little ball, right? And that means that those that are closest to you on the web are your soulmates. The people that are a little bit further, the higher selves that are a little further out would be, family members that you're not as close to, maybe some coworkers, et cetera, et cetera. And then further out from there are going to be people in different lifetimes, but maybe you're not too close to them, and so on and so on. So in essence, what we have is we have this connection system where all the higher selves are there. And we have soul groups. Whoever's closest to you typically are the ones that come in and out of different lives with you. Different lives. Let's talk about that. With this analogy in mind, now that we've created this concept of a multidimensional spider web with all these balls of light, each ball of light being a higher self, for your higher self, in order to have a lifetime, what you're going to do is you're going to take a little piece of that light out. You're going to send it down to earth, put it into a body. It's going to run around, have a lifetime. It's going to let go of the body, and that piece of light is going to return back to the higher self. That is my basic explanation and analogy in the concept of form on the higher self itself. Now, where does this bring us to? Brings us to, does the higher self feel joy? Does it feel anger? Does it feel tension? What I want to lay out here is the difference between time. The higher self is not on linear time. Our earth-based experience is on linear time. So we come down here, we pop into a body, and we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're on linear time. The higher self doesn't function like that. The higher self is on a different time frame that is a bit more fluid, forward, back, 2 times at the same time, holding still completely. It's more like just a dance that goes in every single direction instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the difference in our time structures is what makes this interesting. And it's what also kind of answers why we come down here. What we're doing is we're taking the energy of the higher self and we're putting it into linear time so we can experience emotions differently. The higher self experiences emotions that are not based on linear time. So another way to say that is, if you can't be angry if you're not waiting for some more information or kept out of the loop. You can't anticipate something if you can experience the future instantly and come back again. Think of it this way. Think of time as creating a painting, and you get a blank canvas. Okay, that's your starting point. On linear time here on Earth, you would start with the basics, and throughout the day, throughout time, the painting would go from a blank slate to a full painting. You don't know what the painting is going to look like 2 hours from now until you get to 2 hours from now. Why? Because you're stuck in linear time. Now let's look at that from the higher self's perspective. If the higher self decides to paint a painting, they may start the painting and then jump ahead to 2 hours to see what the painting is there, work on that, and then come back to where they were and continue on knowing where they're headed to, because they already see the end result of the painting, but they're still painting it. Those are 2 very different experiences. And the higher self is interested in what that experience would be like. What would it be like to create a painting on Earth when you're in a bad mood because you don't have the information you wish you had, and you can't know what the painting's going to look like at the end? Like, you have to just go through it with the unknown. This is the experience the higher self is looking for. The higher self is looking for, well, what does it feel like to have a surprise party? How can you have a surprise party if you have access to all? So that's the difference between the 2. Are we still painting paintings? Yes. We're just doing it in a very different way. And the higher self, having the desire of experiencing this on linear time, does exactly that. Takes a little chunk of light out, puts it into a body, sends it to Earth. It goes through an entire lifetime on linear time, collects all these experiences, what it's like to paint when you're happy, what it's like to paint when you're unhappy, what it's like to have artist block. It's a collection of experiences. When somebody says, oh, we come down here to learn, that's a good way to start thinking about it. But the truth is, we're here to have experiences. Learning is an experience. So it just kind of falls under the umbrella of the bigger reason why we're here, which is to have experiences. The higher self wants to know what it is to experience joy in multiple different ways on this linear timeline. Now, I know somebody's going to say, hey, Bo, what about the bad experiences? I'm not going to jump into the bad experiences on this episode. I do address them in many, but we're going to just sort of stick with the reasons why we come down. And yes, we come down to have both good and bad experiences. All right. Now, let's get to how this knowledge affects us intuitively. All right, let's recap. We got our higher self on the other side, and a chunk of that gets popped out and put into a physical body. That physical body is like a heavy blanket that goes over that piece of light. So in essence, what I'm saying is, when you come down here to Earth, you are light and you're wearing the blanket. The blanket is not you. However, right from the get-go, we're taught that you are the blanket. So you, the cloud of light underneath the blanket, is taught, no, you're the blanket. That's who you are. And this blocks our intuition. Now, when it comes to walking through our life, we walk through our lives. When we get to this point where we can start to understand who we really are, that we're the driver in the car, and that the car is the physical body and the driver is the spirit, aka that light under the blanket. When we start to realize we're the light source underneath this blanket that is muting out and not allowing us to see everything and not allowing us to feel and hear everything like we could on the other side. When we start to realize who we really are, which is in essence the description of spiritual awakening, then we start to become aware that a blanket cannot completely encapsulate and withhold light. That light under the blanket actually extends outside that blanket. It seeps right on through. The physical body can't contain the soul, it can't contain the spirit. And we're moving through this experience with our physical body within our spiritual body. With this knowledge, this is where we can step into understanding how to access more information. When we're looking for intuition, we're looking to sit down and to tap in. We're actually, now stick with me on this, we're actually looking to connect with other souls the way we do on the other side. Let's go back to the other side for a moment. There we are, painting our painting. And we start it, it's finished, we go back to the middle. We have all of those experiences because we're not on linear time. We're painting our painting and we're feeling joy because we're enjoying ourselves. And next to us on our multidimensional spider web is our best friend. And in every lifetime, she is your best friend. It's inseparable. And because we are clouds, because we're like balls of light, we're not limited by blankets, we're not limited by bodies on the other side. When we connect, we overlap. It's not an exchange of words back and forth and waiting to hear what the next person says. It's more of an overlap. So if my best friend wants to tell me the scoop that happened on the other, at the water cooler over at the, main office here on the other side, whatever it is, if my best friend on the other side wants to tell me a bit of information, it's not that there is a vocal communication that happens, it's a shared space. And that shared space exchanges information. And what I did just there is literally explain intuition. That is how intuition is communicated. That's how it comes through. It's not that the actual words that you hear are coming out of the mouth of a guide. It's that your guide's energy, which is in the form of a light cloud, that cloud meshes with your cloud and the information is exchanged. When we realize this, and we also recognize that the blanket is, and we believe the blanket to block us, that we can't get out of, but if we could get out of the blanket, then we'd know everything. Well, we're already outside that. And when we recognize that that is the connection that's happening, that's where we can get more intuitive information. What I mean by this, and I will summarize, I promise, and I'm going to give you a tool that obviously has to do with the blanket. Very simple. When we realize that we are unlimited and raised to perceive ourselves as limited, when we let go of that perception, we realize that the blanket is just keeping us in linear time. It's allowing us to be here and have this incredible experience and collect a whole bunch of experiences and bring them back up to the other side, like a bowl of chips. It's like the other side sits down with a bowl of chips and each chip is a lifetime and each chip tastes nummy. Oh, that's what it's like to live to 95 years old and do this, this, and this. Oh, that's what it's like to do this, this, and this. It's a collection of experiences, and it's actually quite a vibrant and beautiful thing if you think about it. Can you imagine being able to do that? How cool that would be? Just to be sitting in your living room and be like, I want to know what it's like to live in this corner of the world and hike and jump off a cliff without screaming. I don't know. Just how cool that would be to be curious and interested and then go and collect that curiosity and go, oh, that's kind of neat. So really on the other side, it is a cool experience. It's a cool interconnected experience of just all the flavors of chips. So when you think about your other ones on the other side, and then I'm going to get back to intuitive training, but when you think about your loved ones on the other side, they're enjoying themselves. They are one big ball of light that contains every lifetime experience that they've ever had. They are unlimited, and they are literally in the essence of unconditional love. When somebody goes to the other side, this is a popular question that I get. They say, oh, well, are they still angry? When somebody crosses over and completes their transition and that little chunk of light comes back to the higher self and reunites, it's no longer in linear time, which means any emotion that you require linear time to have is not brought with them. So are they still angry? No. Why? Because you can't have anger if you're not on linear time. Anger is based in unresolved issues, et cetera, et cetera. If you're not on linear time, there's no unresolved issues, I guess is a way to say it. So is there any sort of suffering? Are they worried? Are they what? You can't worry if you're not on linear time. So the answer is no. The coolest thing I think about the other side is once somebody crosses back over, they're the best of themselves. And all of the struggles, or all of the, and even some of the good stuff that you need linear time to be experiencing, they're no longer in that space. So when I work with somebody as a medium, I'll tell them they are the exact same person, just it's the best of them now. They are worry-free. They're not on linear time anymore. Okay, I want to throw that in there before I gave you this training tool and got back into the training, because I promised you I'd talk about that. Okay, I think I'm doing it. We're doing this. We've got it. I think I've got it all. Let's summarize, and then we're going to end with a tool, because I love my tools. In essence, on the other side, multidimensional spider web, which is which is source completely. And in each intersection of that spider web is a ball of light. That is your higher self. And those that are closest to you are your soul group. You take a chunk of that light out, you send it down to earth to be in linear time and to collect experiences in linear time. When the life is done, it releases the physical body, and that little chunk of light comes back on up and brings those experiences back to the higher self. The higher self is, in essence, unconditional love, in a space of joy, doing whatever it wants, whenever it wants, and having these different experiences in these different ways. Here we are on earth. This little chunk of light comes down. This is where we're going to get back to the intuition. The little chunk of light comes down and gets covered up by a heavy blanket. It mutes us. It blocks what we know, what we can see, what we can hear outside. It's muted now. And we're raised to believe that the blanket is us. We get to a point where we start to walk through our spiritual awakening, and we realize the blanket is not us. What really is myself is the light within the blanket. And then the next step is to realize that that light soaks right on through the blanket. The physical body is contained within the spirit, not the other way around. When we know this, we can create this tool. Here's your tool. When you are sitting down to have an intuitive moment, let's say you picked a card, you're doing a reading for somebody else, or you're just saying to your guides, hey, what is it you want me to know? Because remember, that's our favorite sentence. What is it you want me to know? That's your way of being very open with your intuition. And all I want you to do is focus on your witnessing or feeling your energetic body being outside of your physical body, expanding out like this really cool space bubble of light, just like it is on the other side. And as your energetic body expands out and you say, what is it you want me to know? Trust that the energy of the information that they want you to know is going to come in. So again, back to the other side, two balls of light. Instead of having a direct communication, they just share space, and then that's the transfer. So in this situation, you're going to remember that your physical body is just a blanket, that your energetic body expands outside of it. So you can picture that. You can set an intent of that being like, okay, my energetic body is expanding out, and it's connecting with the energy of my guide. So it's not that you're waiting for your guide to say something to you. It's that you're waiting for the energy of your spirit guide and your energy to overlap. And when they overlap, like the coolest Venn diagram you've ever experienced, when they overlap, that's where the information will be exchanged. Yes, you will feel it or hear it or see it. And yes, that is a linear experience. However, that's your five senses receiving that overlap of energy and translating it in a way that will make sense to you. So we're not waiting to hear the voice of our guide. We're waiting to have our energy overlap with our guide so that the intuitive information can take form for us. So then we know what the guide is trying to communicate. Think of it that way, and let's see what happens for you. It's a very creative, very in the moment way of connecting. Give it a try and let me know what cool things happen, because just setting yourself up sometimes in a different type of a tool might open up another doorway in your intuitive channel that you didn't even know you had. So share it with me when you can. I'd love to hear it. Okay, and I'll see you next week.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.